Therapist.
And she went to
Why
St.
is it that
Houston.
someone who can't speak can sing?
Because music is accessed in many different areas of the brain that aren't designated for language.
Language is normally held in the left hemisphere of the brain, where Gabby was injured. Music exists in both hemispheres. Incredibly, scientists are finding that music therapy can rebuild language on the uninjured right side.
Nothing activates the brain so extensively as music.
So, what they were saying at the end of the video, do you want to go back to the video? Yeah. So for example, the girl in the video, she had damage to the left side of her brain, specifically in the area for speech production. So she wasn't able to talk after the injury. So because music is activated all over in the brain, whenever you sing, it's activating other areas of the brain, not just that one spot where speech is produced. So because of this, you can sing, since different areas that are not injured are being activated. You're able to sing, and then because of something called neuroplasticity, which I'll explain more. Yes. Something called neuroplasticity, which is where...
I didn't quite get that.
Neuroplasticity.
Siri doesn't know.
So basically it's where the brain has your brain's ability to create new pathways. So like for using singing, and repeating it over and over is just creating a new pathway where the damaged one was, so that she's able to speak again without the music once the pathway is created. So that's just a short explanation of what he was talking about. Okay, so now, so one of the areas that music therapy works with is mental health. And mental health covers a variety of different disorders. So for example, some of them are autism, ADHD, Tourette's, dyslexia. I don't know if you've heard of all of these or any of them.
I know of ADHD and dyslexia.
Yeah.
I know what the first one is because that's what I have.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so y'all know some of these. And then, so we'll talk about the more. Okay. And then there's psychotic disorders, mood disorders, such for the psychotic disorders, for example, schizophrenia, and that's a serious mental illness that's characterized by auditory hallucinations, paranoia, bizarre delusions, like thinking like something crazy, like somebody's telling you, I don't know, I'm not
zombies, you start saying zombies.
Yeah, exactly. And then
I woke up this morning and there were zombies.
For bipolar disorder, that's whenever, it used to be called manic depression, so it's not only having the depression, but also the complete opposite, where the person, their mood is extremely elevated, they don't sleep for days, their energy levels are like out the roof, and then, so that can go on for either, I think it's about 2 weeks, but that's not 100% sure. So that goes on for some days, a few days, and then they'll have times where they have depression. And then it just kind of, it's a cycle, it goes back and forth between the manic phase and depression phase. And then depression, anxiety disorders, which some of them that are included are panic disorder. This stands for generalized anxiety disorder, obsessive compulsion disorder, and post-traumatic stress disorder. We can talk a little bit. Yeah, we'll talk a little. Well, yeah, we'll go. I have on the handout a little bit more detail, but for time's sake, we'll. And then eating disorders, such as anorexia or bulimia, And these are disorders that are outlined in something called the DSM-5, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. So that's something that that we use, or not us, but like a psychiatrist or somebody that's going to diagnose a person, they use that, and it lists the criteria for specific disorders, so that they're able to get the best one.
You already went over a lot of these, but
Yeah, for time we'll go ahead and go. And so some of the goal areas we work on in the mental health setting are to develop coping strategies. Does anybody know what coping strategies are, or what? No. Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Maybe like, I don't know, breathing, like breathing techniques or
Mhm.
something to help you
Yeah,
cope with whatever
exactly.
you're feeling.
Yeah, exactly like she said, just to help you cope with whatever is going on. So everybody has coping strategies, but there can be good ones and bad ones. So like a good one is, maybe going running to help not be so stressed or something, and then bad ones are, are coping like with drugs or alcohol. There's a variety of good ones and bad ones. So we help them to recognize their negative coping strategies and come up with positive, healthy coping strategies. We also work on decreasing anxiety, and also promoting relaxation, and then enhancing interpersonal relationships, increasing motivation, improved group cohesiveness, which y'all are very good at, emotional expression, which I think there we go. And this is just examples of where we'd work on some of these goals. So, for example, with improvisation, does anybody know what that is? Improvisation? So that's, we can structure it in a variety of ways, but basically it's where you give the client an instrument and they can play whatever they want. So they can play the drum however they feel, or we can say play like give them something to play, like play how you think sad sounds or something like that. And then lyric analysis is, so we have a song and we talk about the lyrics, and we'll use the singer, the artist, like they'll say something, and we can use that to identify irrational thinking and the client, because they could something that's negative in the song, they could be like, well, I think that way too, and we'll just discuss it. After all of these, we discuss it. We can't just listen to a song and say, okay, that's the therapy. We have to discuss it and develop these things, like coping strategies. And songwriting, that's basically the same, just an emotional outlet, or for social interaction if we did it in a group. Oh, okay.
So I am going to talk a little bit about special needs, because that is one of my passions. I've been able to work with children and adults with special needs my entire life, and that's what I want to do. There are a lot of different types of disabilities, and these are just some sample overlying categories. So you can have physical or intellectual disabilities, and these can either be congenital or acquired. And so what that means, congenital means that is something you are born with. And acquired is something you get later on in life, whether it is from an accident or just an accident or something that causes you to have a specific kind of disability. Go ahead and hit it again. So physical, it's very much how it sounds. It affects a person physically, their physical body, and it can limit their mobility, their gait, so like they're walking, their limb movement, so their arms or their legs may not be able to move in the way that they were before, and muscle strength. And so some of these, paralysis due to like a car accident, or even speech problems, like we saw with that one woman who was getting music therapy for being able to speak, and mobility issues, again caused by an accident or a stroke or something. And then intellectual or developmental disabilities, it affects a person mentally or socially and can typo, sorry, and can limit social skills or communication skills or emotional coping strategies. And we have some examples, autism, Down syndrome, some other ones I cannot remember the names of. Anyway, no, it's good. Goal areas. So for physical, there would be a lot of physical rehabilitation. So increased mobility, so increasing their ability to get around places without assistance. Improved gait, like we saw in that video earlier of that man, used a steady beat to help him fix his gait problems. Increased range of motion, so that would be for the limited muscle movement or limited limb movement. So range of motion is just like how far you can, like this. And then increased muscle strength. For intellectual, there would be a lot of, of course, and all of these depend on the diagnosis and the needs of the client. So we can use increased attention span or increased social interaction. Increased communication, and this could be between peers or between family members or just between the client and the therapist. And then impulse control. Okay, and so how can music therapy be used to reach these goals? So we have a lot of implementation strategies, and those are all encompassed in our musical interventions. And so these musical interventions, when you're working with people who have special needs, they need to be very structured, and they need to be very engaging and active, because otherwise you're going to lose their attention. Yeah, and they need to be rewarding. So we're going to try a little something. Can you pass out the egg shakers?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know anymore.
Okay, so we're gonna pass these.
Actually, if the kids would like to just come and sit around me.
No.
Alright, come on everybody, we're going to sit on the floor
I'm
here.
gonna sit right where I like sitting on the floor.
Well, if you're going to sit there, you can't participate.
I'm already comfortable.
Alright, so let's all sit down on the floor. Excellent. Get everybody an egg shaker, and let's put the egg shakers on the floor until we get ready to play them.
So I mean, you
I
can.
have a question.
This one's not.
I have an
short,
answer.
Short little slang.
I should go first.
Here you go. Here you go.
Oh, excellent.
Do you have one? Do you have?
Does everybody have it? I don't know if we brought enough. Alright,
Yeah.
does everybody have one? Alright.
Yeah, thank you.
Alright. Might not be out of tune.
Okay.
Okay, so listen to the music and shake when I play. We're gonna shake, shake, shake our eggs around, shake our eggs around, shake our eggs around, shake, shake, shake our eggs around, shake our eggs around. Excellent, you guys got this. We're gonna shake, shake, shake our eggs around, shake our eggs around, shake our eggs around, shake, shake, shake our eggs around, shake our eggs around. Good job. We're gonna shake, shake our eggs real slow, shake our eggs real slow, shake our eggs real slow, shake, shake our eggs real slow, shake our eggs real slow. Excellent. We're gonna shake our eggs, shake our eggs, shake our eggs, shake our eggs, shake our eggs. Excellent.
I don't want to shake anything fast.